Bringing that good music. Yahweh International. New Foundation Production presents.
Just a little food for thought, baby. Just a little food for thought, baby. Come on. Just a little food for thought, just a little food for thought.
Yes, your boy, Arquise. Welcome to the Food for Thought Show. So much to talk about. We're going to do current events today, man. You know, people often will ask me, Malik, when are you going to do current events? When are you going to talk about current events? You know, and I just, sometimes what happens is it's the same stuff over and over again, you know, on TV. And you just get tired of talking about the same thing over and over again. But this time, we're going to be talking about the abortion laws passed in Alabama and through other states. And we're going to be talking about a lot of the videos that are popping up with police officers' confrontations with citizens and citizens exercising their civil rights about being pulled over or detained, which really, you know, didn't really start happening until these video camera things started happening. Because before, the police could do some things to you and no one would know and they would deny it. But them days is coming to an end. And we'll talk about some various other topics and issues. It's just good to be back and looking forward to just talking about various topics and just getting you to open up your mind. You know, the whole purpose of Arquise and the Food for Thought show is it needs to be food for thought. I'm trying to provoke you to think about things, not just one-sided. And even for me, like, I've talked about Trump on here and I've talked about the good and the bad versus if you're all the way to the left, you don't see any good. It's just all bad. So I've talked about the trade embargo and various other things and taxes. And, you know, I've talked about tons of topics on here, but the goal has always been to give you something to think about. A lot of times I will listen to radio stations that I know that are all the way to the right or left just to hear what they're saying. Does anything that they say make any daggone sense? Or are they riding so hard on their party that they've lost perspective? I'm telling you right now, and you guys know how I feel about this. A country divided is a country that will fall apart. And we've been falling apart. It's like a slow train leaving the station, you know. It's coming into the station, and when it arrives, we're not going to like what's on this train. But it's created by us. We're the reasons for it. We continue to tolerate things we shouldn't tolerate and do things we shouldn't do and accept things we shouldn't accept. But then want to be all mad about whatever thing pisses us off that affects us emotionally. But we don't look at the big picture. And today's show is about looking at the big picture. We've got all sorts of impeachments going on. We'll talk about law. Like, look, you know, people think they are above the law and how that affects our democracy. No one is supposed to be above the law in the United States of America. But when that starts happening, we might as well just line up like every other dictator country with people who think they're above the law, rich or whoever it may be. So it's important that today we tackle a lot of these topics and get people to open up their mind. Well, we're going to start with the adoption one. We're going to definitely start there. And this is within my lane of experience, working at a place that had an adoption agency, and I've had to work with them for outreach and do some various stuff around adoptions. They had issues with Russia and adoptions and people taking kids back. Russia had issues with having kids that were, you know, giving kids for adoption that were really clearly mentally ill and sick, or various parents coming over and getting them and bringing them back and finding out that the kids were sick. I mean, there's just so many things around adoptions, but I don't want to get too far off track. What I do want to talk about is the Alabama abortion law that just got passed. So let me just help everybody out. Here's the things that make me so angry. And first, let me just start off by saying this. There's two type of ways to look at abortion. Pro-choice and, of course, pro-life. But there's another way to look at it as well. Your personal belief, spiritual belief. Both of these can be in conflict at the same time. You can have a personal belief that, you know what? Yeah, I personally believe that people have a right to do what they want to do to their bodies, no matter what it may be. We live in America, and that's just the way it is. Freedom to do what you want to do here in this country. And when one people starts telling you to do something else against your rights, then that's a problem. The second part is from a spiritual perspective. And this could be the same person with having a personal opinion. But if you are a believer of Christ, a follower of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, then your personal belief gets overridden. It's nothing you can do about it. You can still have that personal belief, but the reality is God is law, and we know that abortion is not something he's signing on to. It's not something he endorsed, not something he believes in. He absolutely does not agree in abortion. So you have your personal belief conflicting with your spiritual belief, and that's where the rub starts. You have to decide which one of these things, are you going to address. It's no different than you personally believe that people have the right to be gay or whatever it may be, lesbian, transgender, but your spiritual beliefs conflict with that. There are a lot of things that will always conflict with your personal or spiritual belief. And most people, well, your spiritual belief should line up with your personal belief. Oh, really? Ask people that are dating if that happens that way. There are tons of things that don't always line up because you want to do it your way. Now, the problem with all of that is personal consequences, your spiritual consequences. There are consequences for all of the decisions that you make. So on the abortion tip, if you are a believer, it's a tough one because even though you're not the one personally giving me the abortion, maybe you just agree that they have the right. But if you are somebody who has or plan on doing, then there may be consequences when you finally meet the Father. He may ask you that question: is why did you kill a life or just, took a child's life? And then of course that's a bigger issue. But even if that's the case, it's your own personal journey that you will find out at the end if you were right or wrong. I still believe people have the right to choose what they're going to do. What would be my role in it? And I'm going to talk about that because I'm going to talk about abortion connected to adoption, how you can't fix one thing without fixing the other. So let's talk about it. I don't think negatively about either side of this conversation. My negative thoughts come with the people who want to pass these laws around abortion, but refuse to fix our adoptions law here in the United States. You can't do one without the other. And why can't you do that? Here's why. Let's just say they get their way and abortion's abolished in the United States of America. So right from there, you should already know that abortions are not going to stop. They're going to continue to happen in a very dangerous underground black market kind of way. B, you're going to be increasing the number of citizens through birth here in this state. And the same people that are against abortion, those same people are also a lot of times against mental health and also against social services. They don't like paying taxes for things that are not their responsibility. That's how a lot of them think. So here it is. So now you've got a country whose population is skyrocketing. You're going to have a social services department in your state increasing the number of kids coming into the system because of parents that are abandoning their children. This is going to happen. We've been here before. What do you think all those orphanages back in the day, two places that I worked were over 100 years old, And I used to hear stories about how parents used to drop off their kids at the orphanages. The orphanages had to be so big because so many kids were getting left or were homeless. And so the agencies were massive, agencies who had to take in hundreds of kids. Your standard facility now, the places I worked, let me see, I could have 100 kids maybe. Between 100 and 150 kids, the bigger agencies. But imagine an agency, a facility that's got 300 and up plus kids, thousands of kids actually, that now under the new law I know everybody starts texting me right when I'm on the show, that are now wards of the state. People, that's going to happen. If you believe that some of these people who would normally abort their child are going to just, I'm going to just magically take care of my child, I got news for you. That's not going to happen. We're going to find more kids in trash cans, more kids at the fire station. Kids and babies and whatever, and smaller kids at the fire stations, left at people's houses. You're going to find kids getting left all over the place. It's going to be a massive, massive influx of babies, children, and teenagers just getting left. That's, just being left and forgotten. And the worst part of that is the people who voted for the abortion, pro-life, is they don't think that far down the road. They're only thinking in the moment of the abortion. Most of those laws are the heartbeat bill, which makes sense. If there's a heartbeat, I'm sorry, I agree with that. If there's a heartbeat, then something's there, something's living. And then people want to argue, well, the brain's not developed, blah, 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 blah. Okay, whatever. But still, you have the right to choose or not choose. So, but through it all, you still have the issue of the bigger picture, which no one is talking about, no one is thinking about, no one cares right now. But in 10 years, these same people that are going so hard in on pro-life will be the same people complaining about all of the kids in the system, all of the kids on the streets, all of the kids being hurt, all the kids being abused, because they don't think. They think they piecemeal everything together, piece by piece by piece by piece. You can't do one without the other. You can't fix abortion without fixing adoption. What's wrong with adoption? Here it is. It's too daggone complicated, too expensive. A lot of parents have room in their homes and their hearts for children, but cannot afford a $10,000 home study and various amounts of and other fees and things that you have to pay for to even be able to be considered for adoption. You got all these crazy laws and rules, state to state, to the point where people just give up. There are tons of kids in the system. I've seen them. I'm like, oh my goodness. When I was 23-year-old, and even just now, when I was really young, I met two young girls that were in the system. I wanted to adopt them so bad. Oh my God. They were beautiful young kids. I was like, I'll do it, because I had bonded with them. And I had never felt a parental grab like that in my life. And even to this day, I think about them every day and what their lives, what my life would be like without them. And I just remember going, gosh, who goes through this? Like, this is ridiculous. This shouldn't be this complicated to adopt somebody. You know what I mean? But that's the problem. They make it complicated because, anytime there's a money grab around any issue, they make it expensive because, the agency needs this much, and we need to send out the person to do the social work, to do the home study. And then there's this, and then there's that, there's the classes. I'm not saying that these things don't cost. I'm just saying you're making it impossible for a big chunk of Americans to be able to adopt and have an opportunity to have a child. It's ridiculous, and now all those things are needed. I'm just saying we've got to work on the cost of adoption. You can't do one without the other. There's just no way. We're so in the moment when it comes about change and decision making, and for the fact that somebody was sitting up in some legislator, some state office, whatever they were, whoever came up with these bills, some senator, some lawmaker, I have a great idea. I really believe in kids. No, if you believe in kids, if you believe in children, you believe from the beginning to the end. You believe the full circle of supporting them. And that's if you're going to be pro-life. You need to be pro-life all the way through. We need to stop throwing our kids under the bus in the beginning and at the end, in the beginning, the middle, all of it. That's education. That's adoption. That's abortion. If you're going to be doing it, do it right. That's all I'm saying. You need to go hard all the way. Stop just being hard in one area. Stop being all serious in one area. Look at the whole thing. Okay, pro-life. Now, how are we going to take care of all these kids? I guarantee you nobody said that because nobody wants to have that conversation, because that's going to mean increasing taxes and a lot of other things that none of them states, because all Republican states that don't like taxes, are going to do. But it's going to happen if we keep going in the direction we're going. So you got two issues. Don't be one-sided. Fix both. Going to be all hardcore about about abortion, you need to fix the adoption laws. This is not rocket science, people. Common sense is not rocket science. We make things complicated because we're not deep thinkers no more. We're missing all the deep thinkers who would see the big picture. We're snapshot culture. We take snapshots of things and we ride with that. But it's a full portrait. You understand what I'm saying? It's a galleria of pictures. You have to do it, man. Because if you don't, you're setting the country up. You're setting everybody up for failure. So, I just want people to think deeply about all of these politicians making these decisions. They don't make decisions for the long term. They take snapshot pictures and then they just want to get your vote. They'll say what they need to say and do what they need to do. Don't trust none of them. And make them hold them more accountable. If someone brought you let's say you are a pro-life supporter, and then in your state, people brought this idea to a bill and blah, blah, I want you to vote for it. Then your next question should have been, okay, hi, my name is John. I have a quick question. I'm a pro-life person, but who's going to take care of all these kids when I don't think some of these people are going to be keeping these kids. They're going to abandon them. And of course, some idiot's going to say, no, we think that the parents will decide to keep the kids and raise them. Man, please look at the system now. If you took a look through social services, CPS and everything, right. All you got to use is use their own truth against them. These idiots don't know anything. Half these people are just privileged and white or uppity and black or whatever the heck they are. And they're not looking at you and your situation. They're not looking at society as a whole. There's no way. It's just ridiculousness that they're doing. So I know you guys probably going to be like, well, every white person is not privileged and every black person is not uppity. It's true. They're okay, fine. They're not. But I'm talking about the people that are specifically making some of these laws without thinking about it. And if you believe your state believes so deeply in it, let them vote for it. We don't let them vote for those type of things and see what they say. I don't mind a state to state. If your people in your state vote for it, great. And if it passes, great. And if the people in your state don't like it, that didn't vote for it, they can get out that state. This is how it is. If you don't like the state you live, if you don't like the way your state runs its government, get out. That's why I left California. I didn't like what they were doing. I was like, no, I refuse to stay here anymore and be a part of this buffoonery. I'm out. That's freedom of choice. You can choose to do what you want to do. So I just want people to think deeply about adoption. And I want you to understand the consequences of it. Our children go through enough. We're letting them down on all levels. If you haven't heard the show I did on how our kids are not safe nowhere, you're just adding another element to it. You're setting them up and our country up for failure when you're so one-sided and you don't look at the big picture. So I just want you to think deeply about your situation, your people you vote for, your state's position on it. If you're a pro-life person, you got to think deeper and long term, or you will have serious consequences. Don't be just a person that just says, "Oh, I believe in pro-life." Okay, what about after the life? What are those children's next 10 to 15 years going to be? You have to think about that because you're going to be the one paying the taxes on it if it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go. And if you just look at the current situation, we're already paying taxes on tons of these children in the system right now. And there are a lot of perfectly fine kids in foster care, in the system, in group homes, in residential treatment facilities right now that we're paying taxes on. So you think it's bad now? Oh yeah, just wait. All right. It's your boy Keith, man. I want to play a song. I dedicate this song to all my young ones. I dedicate this to the young girl. I can't remember her name right now. early in the morning, and they have not found her, and it's not looking good, and it just breaks my heart. It's a beautiful young girl, and I just sad because it seems like more and more young people are under attack. So I dedicate this song to all the young people. Know that God loves you, and we stand with you. We understand that. I know it may feel like the adults are letting you down, and that social media has got you in a state of confusion, heartbreak, depression. Just self-esteem is lower than it's ever been. But you're perfect the way you are. Don't let nobody tell you that you're not. God made you perfect. It's your boy Art Keys, man. Let's play some music.
Sometimes you cry, you don't know why. Sometimes you do, but you don't want to. No matter what you're going through, he will always bring you through. Just call his name, and watch everything change.
They don't know about the first time she started cutting right there. And how many times did he call her, playing up in her hair? And about her depression, never confessing everything she going through. And you say you're lucky if they even acknowledge you.
I never felt loved and I never felt wanted, so it don't matter. They'll say I'm a liar and everything I say is just chit chatter. And how many times did I stay up crying up in my bed, looking at my wrist and thinking about how I could be dead.
And on the radio they played a song she never heard. And Jessica Reedy broke her down with a couple of words. She made something out of nothing. I know it's hard to believe. Then she closed her eyes and prayed. That's why she received. And there's a healing, now she feeling she can move on. She's putting her past behind her, now she's standing strong. But she never gave up and she never gave in, so now she wins. So put your hands up, give God the praise and tell your friends.
Sometimes you cry, you don't know why. Sometimes you do, but you don't want to. No matter what you're going through, he will always bring you through. Just call his name, and watch everything change.
They don't know about the first time she decided to purge. First was a thought that she told herself a couple of words.
Everything will be fine, nobody needs to know, cause it's my business, and so I'll keep it on the low. On fleek in my outfit, everybody checking me out, and I know they jealous,
Cause they all got they down. Cause every time they see her, she always feeling so weak. And everybody saying she can barely stand on her feet.
but I know I need help because I feel so lost. Then one of my friends said pray, he already paid the cost.
Then she fell to her knees and told God all her pain. And right then and there, she would never be the same. And there's a healing, now she feeling she can move on. She's putting her past behind her, now she's standing strong. But she never gave up and she never gave in, so now she wins. So put your hands up, give God the praise and tell your friends.
Sometimes I cry, I don't know why. Sometimes I do, but I don't want to. Sometimes I cry, I don't know why. Sometimes I do, but I don't want to.
No matter what you're going through, he will always bring you through. Just call his name, and watch everything change.
Yeah, that's They Don't Know, Christside Soldiers HD. When we wrote that song, it was right around the lines of, I just felt like no one's listening to young people anymore. We've just kind of put an iPad and an iPhone in there, or a Galaxy tablet and whatever in front of their faces and say, we too busy. Turned our eyes from our young people. We give them short attention. The caring's not there, not the way it used to. The responsibility is not there, not the way it used to. What are we passing on to our children? How to preoccupy your time on social media. It's just sad, man, to see what our young people got to go through and what they're about to go through in the direction our country is going to. Being a president used to be like a thing a kid would say, I want to be president when I go up. But there was a moral thing about it, like, a self-esteem about it, right? Like, being president is something to be proud about. And now these kids are like, there is no moral guide when it comes to being president of the United States. You can be as ratchet, womanizing as you want to be. You can lie, manipulate as you want to be. Look, before Trump, I didn't agree with a lot of presidents, but they still had a certain way they carried themselves. I didn't always agree with Obama, but he was very much a classy man. He was classy. He just had a way about him. And most presidents do and did up to this point. It's just, our kids are looking at us for guidance and leadership, and we continue to let them down. They look at a president and go, is that appropriate behavior? And at the same time, we try to chastise them for the things that they do. But how can you do it when we're doing stuff? And every position of where kids should be seeing people in authority showing appropriate behavior, they're not seeing it. If you're not seeing it in your presidents, you're not seeing it in your legislators, your senators, and your congressmen, if you're not seeing it in your police, and if you're not seeing it in the adults, man, no wonder they're ratchet right now. No wonder they're doing the things they're doing. No wonder they're looking to social media so much. Sure can't look to the adults. Can't do it. I don't blame them. Can't keep them safe. They're as lost as they've ever been. It's hard working with young people and hearing the things they're saying. You have no idea. See, the funny thing about young people is they're afraid to tell you, the parent, because you're going to criticize. That's what they think. That's what they'll tell me. Like, I don't want to tell my parents because they're always criticizing me, or I'm going to be on punishment. They have a million reasons why they want to tell you, but they'll tell me everything because I'm non-judgmental. You know what I'm saying? I need to hear everything, every bad thing that you ever said or done. I don't care how ratchet it is. I'm not going to judge you by it. I'm going to try to figure out why. Why young people try and do the things they do. One, they feel they're invincible. That's true. I definitely remember when I was like that. But a lot of young people do things because they didn't got proper guidance. The church has completely fallen off from that. We're too busy entertaining them and not leading them. I used to be in this group called Rural Ambassadors. I thought I was going to hate going to this thing, man. It was a bunch of men who basically would mentor younger men. And, I did not want to go, but I ended up going and being a great experience for me, being around positive people. And I'm not saying that some churches aren't doing that. I'm just saying we're outnumbered. You can't have 5% of the churches doing it and the rest of them not, because that's what it seems like. You can't have 5% of the police force being good and the 95 of them ratchet. That's probably overkill, but you understand what I'm saying. It's not balanced correctly. That's why you're not seeing no changes. That's why you're not seeing no changes in the churches. That's not why you're seeing no changes in politics. That's why you're not seeing no changes in our justice system. It's unbalanced. That's why you continue to see the ratchetness. Like, perfect example, we're going to talk about the police and all the videos that are on YouTube and Facebook. And if you haven't seen them, they're hysterical. And they're not just black people. They are every type of citizen you can think of, including foreigners, clowning the police. See, first of all, let me explain something about police officers who should not be police. There are a ton of police officers who think their authority comes from their gun, that badge, their baton, their handcuff, their items that make, when they wear this suit, they wear these items, it makes them feel like that's their power and that's their authority. And there are some police officers whose power and authority is given through them by God. And when I say that, that means that those police officers have special gifts and they understand who they serve, who they work for. They work for the Father. The Father gave them the blessing for the job, and they continue to do great police work. They don't need to pull their gun, tase you, pepper spray you, baton you, handcuff you. That's not the first thing they look to do. You know, they're going to try to talk to you and help you, you know. Now, and I'm not talking about the criminals. Criminals, you're going to get what you're going to get. But for your average citizen, they're not here to harass you and to make your life miserable. I got news for you. But there's not enough of them. It's unbalanced. So what you're seeing on YouTube and Facebook, as soon as a cop pulls up, everybody's pulling out their phones, right? I don't want you to think about this. If people are not afraid of cops, if people are feeling that whatever's about to happen is going to be just, why are you pulling your phone out, right? You don't need to pull your phone out if you feel that the people that are walking up to your car are going to be doing things in a lawful and correct way. The reason why everybody, and I mean everybody, red, yellow, black, and white, everybody's pulling their phones off is because for decades and decades and decades, police officers haven't been checked. They've created a culture of intimidation. And from the traffic cop to whatever cop sees you, you get a sense of it. If you haven't been pulled over in a long time, let me tell you, before social media, here's one of the positive things. Police officers would pull you over with a worse attitude, just talk ratchet to you, cuss you. I mean, no one was checking them. I can think of every time I've gotten pulled over. You know how many tickets I've ever gotten in my entire life? Speeding? One. You know how many times I've been pulled over in my entire adult life? Well over 20. Why are you pulling me over and not giving me no ticket? Matter of fact, it might be more than 20. I keep forgetting. I've lived in other states. Could be 30, close to 30. I'm under, yeah. In Culver City, I got pulled over at least 10 times. Never got a ticket. Because they be straight harassing you. Oh my goodness. Based off what car I was driving. Oh, some of the stuff these police officers have said to me. Oh my goodness. So listen, look, people are pulling out their phones because they're sick and tired of the police pouncing on their civil rights. You should be pulling me over. If I get pulled over for speeding, I ain't got nothing to say. Give me my ticket. You know I was speeding? Yes, sir. Here's my ID. Here's my registration. I will accept this ticket. Because it's not an admission of guilt. I'll see you in court if I don't believe it's true. But if not, I'm not going to make it complicated. I was speeding. But if you're pulling me over just to pull me over, then like, yo, let's get to it. It's not a complicated thing. You know, hi, my name is Officer So-and-so. I'm pulling you over for A, B, C, and D, license and registration. Now, so what's happening is a lot of the videos are hysterical. I have seen people just pulled over just because, like this police officer, the one I saw today, this guy was picking up trash. The better ones is when the police go into your property. This guy was picking up trash in his yard, right? And the police officer said, asked him for his ID, asked him what he was doing. He was like, I'm picking up trash in my yard. Okay. And the guy was kind of like, okay, like, well, how can I help you? Oh, well, we were driving by and we saw you, loitering. And he said, loitering, I live here. And I can't tell you how many videos I've seen like this with the property one. That's one of my favorite ones is when police officers go into somebody's property because they see him and they say, well, you look suspicious. How do I look suspicious picking up trash? Eventually the guy got pissed and then he knew exactly what to do. He refused to do anything. He's like, am I under arrest? No. I mean, he asked the right questions and said the right things. The cops was just basically pissed because he wouldn't comply. I'm sorry. You don't have a right to violate people's civil rights. If you are detaining people, there are laws in place about detaining people and you need to follow them. You just don't do stuff because you feel like it. You don't pull people over because you feel like it. You need to follow the law just like we need to follow the law. You understand what I'm saying? My other one I saw this week was there was a gentleman who was videotaping a fight. Cops came up to him and wanted to take his phone and do something with it. And the guy refused. He said, you got a subpoena? You do need, he broke the law down to him real good. You do know you need to subpoena me to get, I refuse to give you my property. And I refuse to comply. I don't need to do anything. I'm under arrest. If I'm not under arrest, and if I have not broken any laws, then I'm going to go by my way. That's the law. See, you can't, law is not to be bent to your, to way you, to make it work for you or for them. The law is the law. And he knew the law. And of course, cops were mad because he wouldn't comply. And then they start breaking the law because that's what they do. Then what they do is they try to intimidate you to break the law to get what they want. That's why they're constantly getting in trouble. That's why these videos are hysterical, because now other Americans are seeing these videos. So you have to remember, history is an amazing thing. And if you go back through history, you'll understand why these moments are so important around law, people's civil rights, people being stopped. People are always texting me. No, I can't talk to you right now. I'm doing the show. So now people are learning more about their civil rights off of these videos than ever before. Because if I ever get stopped anywhere, in the officer says, hey, what's your name? I'll give them my name. But if they ask for my ID or anything, first thing I'm gonna say is why. And if they don't give me a why, I'm like, okay. Now, for all of my African Americans, of course, this is dangerous for obvious reasons. If you have not seen multiple people get killed for no reason, so you have to kind of choose who you're dealing with, where you're at. If you're in make sure you're in a public place. If you're in a back alley or some weird place where you're by yourself, you might just want to comply. You don't want to find out the in a bad way. You don't want to find out with no witnesses around that you are in danger, because that definitely has happened. But for the average person, or you're in a situation where you're social, your phone is on, they need to be telling you why they're pulling you over. And it needs and the reasons for them detaining you. And if those things are full of crap, then you need to basically just say no. Am I under arrest? No. Am I free to go? No. That's detaining. The minute they say that you are not free to go, that's detaining you. And you need a reminding where you actually are detaining me. You're actually breaking the law right now. So if you're not going to arrest me, I am going. And if you start walking off and they grab you, they lay hands on you, they just broke the law. It's not complicated, And if they can say yes, how should these moments go? These moments should go like this. The guy with the trash. Hey, sir, my name is Officer Jim. Well, we were coming by. We had some concerns. Well, what concern did you? The guy would have said, well, what concerns do you have? Well, it's going to sound stupid, because what were your concerns? Well, we saw you loitering. And if the guy said I wasn't loitering and it clearly was not loitering, I'm picking up trash. That should have been it. Okay, well, sorry to bother you. And we're going to go about your business. Common sense, if you're a police officer, you should know the law thoroughly to where you know when you're overreached. And that's what I'm going to say is call it overreach. You've overreached and extended the law well beyond what it needs to. For the person who, the one where the gentleman is sitting on his porch. And there was, I think it was an Arizona tea. He had a tea. They thought it was beer. But even after they saw it wasn't beer, they still asked for his ID. Sorry, that should not be happening. Well, sir, am I under arrest? No. Well, why are you on my property? Well, we thought you had a beer. Okay, now that you see this is not a beer, that this is the Arizona tea, I would kindly like you guys to leave. I'm not giving you my ID or nothing, because I haven't done anything wrong. There's so many videos of that. The police are just out of control. It cracks me up. Of course, the ones where they're pulling you over are even more funny. I've definitely had that one. I've been pulled over with guns drawn. You know what they told me? I asked them, why am I being pulled over? And they said, be right back. They took my ID and stuff. You know why they had their guns drawn? Because my windows were too dark. But the car was bought that way. I said, you do know. Oh, and they gave me an exhaust thing. And I got off of all that. They just pulled me over. I'm like, and I said to him, oh, it was one cop, and then he called back up. 4 cops. This was in California, and they all had their guns drawn. I was just like, so I'm thinking like, oh God, this is it. And that wasn't the first time I've had gun drawn or hand on the gun. So the 2 cops in the back had their guns out drawn. It made no sense to me, but I'm a G. I stay cool. I'm like, I'm gonna give you no reason to pull no gun on me. And of course the worst ones we've seen where they told the gentleman, please, can you please get your ID? The guy reached for his ID in his pocket and the cop shot him. There's a lot of those. And while he was dying, he said, "Why'd you shoot me? I was reaching for my ID. You told me to get my ID." That was sad. That one broke my heart. It's just some people aren't meant to be cops. That's why it should be mandatory. This is why it should be mandatory that police officers go through internships at mental health facilities and places like that, so they can learn how to deal with their own personal issues around people's level of aggression, mental health state, and various other things. Because if you do that, you're going to have officers who are more better trained to deal with people who are in distress or in crisis. But in these cases, these are just a lot of people just living life, And I think what I'm liking and what I do like is seeing people exercise their civil rights and telling the police officers, no, that's not the law and you don't know it. I've seen the international ones. A guy from Dubai. Oh, this was great. This cop said he was going to tow his car. I mean, he told him the craziest stuff. See, that's what happens when cops don't know law. They make up law, just make up stuff to get you to try to comply. This dude knew law quite well. He had his he had his driver's license. He had his international driver's license, insurance. He had everything he needed. The cop said it wasn't enough, that he needed a state driver's license to drive in his state, and blah blah blah. So what did the officer? And told the guy was trying to tell him the law, and they get into this debate. And he said, "Dude, you're pulling people over not knowing the law, and you've probably been doing this, and you are wasting people's time, and you're detaining people for no reason." So the cops said, "I'll walk if you basically told him he'd tow the car if he didn't basically shut up, and keep giving him a hard time." So eventually, what ended up happening is, what did the guy do? He went to the police station, talked to the lieutenant, whoever was in charge, and sure enough, he was right. Look, the average person is not going to just start popping off a police officer about law. If there's, there'd be some confusion, but a lot of these videos, most of them are right. Now, don't get me wrong. I've seen some bad ones where people are wrong too. It's not more of them than there is the ones that are right. There's always some idiot, completely not following directions, completely being aggressive, completely doing too much. People, look, all you got to do is say no. You don't have to be angry to do it. You ain't got to be pissed off to do it. You may feel angry and pissed off because they pulled you over, but at the end of the day, you can just say, "No, I'm not doing it. I'm under arrest." I talk about this with people and a lot of my co-workers all the time when they're getting into these issues. I'm like, if you don't want to do something, just say no. Why are you mad? Well, they shouldn't have been asking me in the first place. Okay, but you made it 100% wrong. But you were 100% right, but you made it 100% wrong by the way you asked it. You need to take all that energy out of what you're saying and just say, "No, I'm not doing it. I don't feel it's right." It's just that simple. If you are so angry, take a second, get your thoughts together, because the anger is what gets most people in trouble with the police. It's the mistake of aggression towards an officer, or interfering with the police. When somebody's child is being arrested and the parent's going ballistic. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not gonna go ballistic. I'm gonna take pictures. I'm gonna take video, and I'm gonna get your badge, and I'm gonna get your number, and I'm gonna stay calm, and I'm videotaping the whole thing, because when I hem you up, you're gonna know it. What you will not be using is my own aggression and behavior against me. That's why people, when you're dealing with the police, you gotta stay calm. You gotta stay cool. And you don't have to turn off your phone. You don't have to turn off the recorder. Straight up, let them know I'm videotaping. And you give them the business, not with aggression and yelling and screaming. You make sure you detail everything, and they're supposed to give you their name and badge number. And then we need to do that more often, because if you keep getting the same complaint about the same police officer over and over again, you think it don't work, nothing happens, but something does happen, And definitely county to county, state to state, that's going to be different. But you got to continue to fight. People, we got to continue to fight to make sure the laws are correctly being used, not being bent or used to people's advantage or disadvantage or whatever it may be. Follow the law. And if you're speeding and you get pulled over, take the ticket. If you're doing anything, something you're not supposed to be doing, why are you mad? You wasn't supposed to be doing it. So there's the consequence. but we're not going to be bullied and we're not going to be taken advantage of. So people continue to strive for your civil rights. Make sure you're treated in a way that's lawful. Because if you don't, we'll end up like some of these third world countries where they have no rights, where they continue to let people bully them. It just got out of control. It's your boy Keith, man. I want to play one more song before I get out of here. I just am excited about seeing people stand up for their civil rights. Now we just got to get our moral direction together here in this country. We need to get our laws and politics under control. We got a lot of work to do. We got to rebuild. We got to rebuild and come together as a country. You know, we ain't got to agree. We can agree to disagree. And when you're in charge and I don't agree, okay, great. You know, but take all the racism and all the other crap out of it. You know, just keep everything civil. It's your boy Keith, man. Let's listen to some music.
Y'all want to give a special round of applause to Dorothy, Edward and Jones. What's up, man? Come on, y'all. Give them a round of applause. Having us here tonight. Right about now, you know, I want y'all to understand this Arcade thing. You know what I'm saying? My music is so versatile, and I just want you to sit back and relax and experience this. This next track we doing is called Food for Thought. Hey, Sal, man, I like the effect on that, but switch it back, because I'm about to start my verse. You know what I'm saying? I see all my folks out there. What's up, man? I see you. All right, switch the effect back.
Yeah, so found myself in the dark black alley, pleading for my life. How can another black man have so much hate, anger, and strife? Now as he took my belongings and smiled all in my face, I said, how can you do this, man, and disgrace our black race? Check it out. Immediately he stopped and looked at his skin and said, this may be where it started, but this is where it is. Check it. Black is not a color, it's a state of mind. And this is surely something that he needed to find. A little food, just a little food for thought. 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 He was a man, a player, and a sex fiend. But the bad thing about it, this fool was only 13. Not even thinking twice before he tried to be that man. He was sleeping with all of the girls like he's in some rock band. And now he's a father with 2 or 3 kids on the way, baby. Kids having babies. What more need I say? With no type of guidance and respect for his own life. By the age of 18, this fool had 2 more kids and why did he not fair, baby? Just a little bit of sugar, baby. Just a little bit. Give me some food, baby. Just a little bit. You need to get some food. You need to get food. Need some food, my baby. Now, just a little food for thought, baby. Just a little food for thought, baby. Come on. Just a little food for thought, just a little food for thought. West Side.
That is the title track of this whole show. Just a little food for thought, man. I thought I'd let you hear the whole song. I realized I had never played the whole song. That is off the Arquise and the Food for Thought album. That is. So look, before we go, I need to explain something to people because I completely forget to do it every time. The Arquise Food for Thought album is we pulled 2 or 3 of the Christ-Size Soldier albums and the Arquise album. They are not, you can't get them right now. We're going to be doing a big release of all these albums, re-release. We've left our distributor and we've parted ways, and we're going to be redistributing this music So I deeply apologize. The only albums that you can get Christ-Side right now is the New Foundation's, the Armageddon album. That's like the best of. The only Christ-Side full album is on the Christ-Side HD. You can still get those. But we will be re-releasing all these albums soon because people have really been like losing their mind. Like, really? So there was just some things going on with some contracts that I have with some networks and some other things, and stuff was getting tied up into who had rights to what. So I was like, you know what? I'll fix this problem. So we just left our distributor. We're going to be doing some different stuff. It's your boy Keys, man. I want to thank our sponsor, Yahweh International, New Foundation Productions, and man, what a blessing it is to be teamed up with them. And we're going to be doing some more special guests and some live feed stuff. We've pretty much worked out all the kinks. We just got our computer back this week. We did some updates. These updates, people, geez, I can't even. It's technical stuff, but it's a pain. You know, every time Apple wants to update their OS or any of these Pro Tools people, or it causes problem within the systems, and you have to wait for all the other providers to update their stuff to work with all the other stuff. If it makes any sense, it's a pain in the butt. So I think we're ready to go now. We want to start live streaming at some point here. It's your boy Keys, man, and we're still going to get Eastone on here. And today's show was an early one because I know they're going to be doing some construction in the evening, so I wouldn't be able to get him on. It'd be all jacked up. You wouldn't be able to hear him or me. I want everybody to just think about what we talked about today, man, and think about being better and being more tolerant and understanding of each other. Come on. Let's be the United States of America, not the divided States of America. It's your boy Keith, man. Y'all be blessed. Food for thought. We out.